Hi guys, it's going to be a very brief pod, I think, on the reaction to the Women's League Cup final victory this afternoon. I'm supposed to be joined by Bryan. He's gone a bit missing in action. I'm not quite sure where he is. He's maybe had some issues on his way back up the road. I hope he's okay. So because I saw a couple of you waiting in the chat, I thought I'd better jump on and just give you a quick breakdown on what happened. I believe, well, in the comments, Caroline, you watched the girls for the first time today in their game. They played really well. I was quite disappointed in the opposition. I didn't think Hibs were any great shakes, but that might be down to how we played. Unbelievably, that's their first ever domestic cup final as a ladies team. And I know we've only been professional for 3 or 4 years, but still, it's a first ever. I mean, that cup's been on the go since 2002, 2003, when Kilmarnock won it. So it's been on the go 20 years, and it's the first time we've got to the final of it. We've also obviously we won it. We turned it out 2-0, which was good. We've also gone through it without conceding a goal, because in round 2 we beat Queen's Park 5-0, quarterfinals Motherwell 5-0, and in the semis we put 4 past Spartans without reply. So girls have done really well. Kirsty Howitt's the leading goal scorer in the competition after a goal in the final today. That put her one ahead of the lassie Freda that played with Hibs, that got taken off mid-second half. Kirsty's on 6 goals now for the tournament, which is good. Obviously, for anybody that's watching that doesn't know the team, Rangers started off with Gemma Fife, Nick Dockery, Hannah Davison, Captain Kath Hill, Rachel McLaughlin, Chelsea Cornett, Tess Medag, Lizzie Arnott, Jenny Danielson, Brogan Hay, and Kayla McCoy. That was the starting lineup. Scored after about 15 minutes. Cracking goal from Lizzie Arnott. An absolute superb finish. I was at the game with Bryan, lucky enough to be doing the media stuff with him, which is all thanks to you guys. And he turned to me and said, "Do you think she meant it?" And as far as I'm concerned, she absolutely meant it. 100% she meant it. It was a great finish, right into the top postage stamp corner. So, yeah, great goal for Lizzie. We were completely dominant. The whole first half, Hibs offered absolutely nothing. But yeah, we held on first half. Looked really, really comfortable. Didn't really offer too much ourselves. Didn't make too many chances going forward, as you would have seen. Hello, good evening, Gregor, as well as Caroline. I see you both in the comments there. If anyone's got any questions about the game today, stick them in, because this is going to be a very, very short podcast. As I say, it's difficult doing it on my own. Wasn't expecting to do it on my own. Martin might jump on because he knows I'm here, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, Stu, I think Bryan, maybe we can't get hold of Bryan, Stu. I just hope he's okay. So yeah, 1-0 at half time. We all sort of collectively thought, we scored the next goal and it's done. And we scored the next goal. I mean, Kirsty Howitt came off the bench, as I say, became the leading goal scorer in the competition this year, scoring her 7th goal. Sorry, her 6th goal in the competition. That was an absolutely brilliant finish as well. And Kirsty absolutely loves it. Kirsty's one of us. She's Rangers through and through. She absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. The celebrations at the end for the girls, I don't know how much of it they showed you on the telly. As we were lucky enough to be there. It was the celebrations were fantastic. I mean, the Union Bears decided, I believe, last night that they were going to go to the game, and they put them in the front section of the stand, just to basically in front of the Rangers Sport in the very front section. And they never stopped the whole game. They were beating the drum and singing along. And when the game finished, the girls went over and were dancing along to what they were playing and what they were singing, and the celebration was just fantastic. The ladies certainly really loved it. I've not really had a chance to watch much of the after-match coverage. So there's loads of it on Rangers TV and Rangers Twitter and stuff like that. I haven't seen any interviews yet, but I mean, you can just tell by the looks on their faces and the way they were. I mean, they came up past us in the press area. They went up to see their friends and families in the stand, which was absolutely sensational. I mean, some of the photos that they got taken, some of the interviews, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely loving it. I mean, one of the young age group teams was up watching it as well. They were right at the front of the Ranger section, up to see them, and they were chatting to them. The girls' interaction with supporters, fantastic. They were signing stuff, they were getting photos taken. It was absolutely brilliant. And kudos to the club, because I know that as soon as they left Edinburgh, they headed back to Ibrox. Now, I know the ladies don't really play at Ibrox, but I know a friend of mine was there having a lunch for his birthday, and then they did the tour, and as they were coming out of the tour, the ladies arrived back at the stadium, and I've seen a cracking video of them all going up the marble staircase, obviously, I would imagine into the Thornton Suite for a bit of a party that I know they had laid on, which is absolutely fantastic. The club to recognise that. You know, I mean, it's only the second trophy the girls have won after winning the league last season. So, I mean, fantastic. I just hope that, I mean, having looked at my own social media, I was disappointed with the crowd. I've been absolutely slaughtered on Twitter for saying that I was disappointed the crowd was less than 4,000. I'll stand by that. I thought it might be more. I know it's 2 weeks before Christmas. I know it's absolutely freezing cold. People have got other things to do, but still, it's one of those. But I know a lot of people did actually watch it on the television and watched it live on Sky. So hopefully the fact that more eyes have been on it, and the girls played well. Okay, granted they weren't particularly up against much, I don't think. That they played well, they got a result, that they won the trophy. As I was saying on I don't know if any of you caught the pods that we did from the game. I know that they weren't particularly great because I don't think the internet was too good at Tynecastle. People have been saying to me long and weary that they're not interested in any Rangers team that don't win things. And I get that, because I'm only interested in Rangers teams that win things. But that's now 2 trophies in a row that they've won. So hopefully this will get more people back to ladies' games. I mean, if they can sort out the scheduling, you know, I mean, at the moment it's fine because we're only playing Saturdays and the girls tend to play Sundays, which is fine. Might get more people at the games then. But yeah, I mean, they're starting to wave shiny things at us, which is what it's all about at the end of the day. Ladies football itself in Scotland's quite in its infancy. I mean, that was 3,500 3,700 at the game of the day. We had about the same at the Old Firm game 2 weeks ago at Cumbernauld. The day after our Old Firm game at Cumbernauld, there was 8,000 at Easter Road for the Edinburgh Derby. But it was noticeable to me that was free entry. So that possibly something to do with it. That might be something that they look at. I mean, I think today the tickets were, well, they were certainly £8 for adults, because although I was in media duties, I had actually bought tickets previous to finding that out. And my girlfriend and my daughter were at the game as well. So they were £8 a ticket. I think kids were £3, I think, from memory. They might have been £1, but I think they were £3. It's not really a lot of money, but it is a tough time of year. There is a cost of living crisis going on and all that stuff. You know, it's not just the cost of getting into the game, because it's so cold. You know, if you're buying hot drinks and stuff like that, you've got to keep the kids going. And I get all that. So hopefully, you know, the fact that lots of people watched it on Sky, it will get more eyes on it. They have to keep winning. I know it's out with race control, but we could really do with the opposition getting a bit better. You know, was it only £1? Was it only £1, Stephen? Well, there you go. It was £1, so you could have an adult and 2 kids for a tenner. That'd have been fantastic. But again, you've got the ancillary costs you've got to get there. I get it was through in Edinburgh. People were saying to me, you know, if it had been in Glasgow, you might have got a bigger crowd. You probably would have, and possibly the crowd was lower because Hibs fans don't want to go to Tynecastle. It was bitterly cold, so a lot of people were like, I'm not taking my kids out in that. It was the day after the Leverkusen game. I understand the scheduling of it, having it during a domestic break with no World Cup games on. I get all that as well. I think, had the winter break been when the winter break usually is, in January time, maybe it was the end of January, the last weekend before it went back in January, that might have got more bums on seats, more people actually at the game. But we'll never know that. We can only hope that, or personally, I can only hope it goes forward. I mean, I know at the moment I only get to the bigger games because obviously when I live up in Aberdeen, it's not really logistically sensible for me to get to as many of these games as I'd like to. And Bryan lives in Forest, so I mean, he's probably still on his way home, you know. But I get it's not for everyone. I mean, I know there's loads and loads of people that just don't do women's football, and I understand that. I really do get that, you know. And as Cammy saying there, yeah, Cammy, you're right. The Leverkusen game wasn't exactly a sellout, but then the problem with that as well, for me, is that if I can get this comment up for me, the problem with that is that because it was a kind of late arranged thing, loads of folk had their Christmas nights out arranged for, or days out arranged for yesterday, because it was the last free Saturday before Christmas, because the Hibs game, which is on Thursday, was originally on Saturday. So a lot of people went, well, we've got a free Saturday. It's during the World Cup. Rangers aren't playing. We'll all go out. I mean, I know certainly the Rabble had their night out yesterday. I believe another couple of podcasts. I know another couple of podcasts had their nights out yesterday. There'll be loads of works night out as well. You know, people that would probably normally have gone to that game didn't go because of that. So logistically, it's a bad time of year to be playing things like this. I get that. And yeah, Gregor, I know it's a growing game. Give it time. I just find it really frustrating that the Edinburgh Derby 2 weeks ago can have 8,000 folk at it, and Rangers in a cup final can't even get half of that. You know, and I get that it's across the M8 corridor, and it's, you know what I mean, it's the Edinburgh Derby. It's two local clubs. That's fine. I get that. I get that as well. But you know, I mean, it is what it is. You know. Yeah, Stephen, thanks for that. I was at the Bonus game. I just like watching Rangers. I mean, there was I don't get to nearly as many B team games as I'd like to, but obviously the first team will always take priority for me. And last weekend, first team didn't have a game, and Rangers were playing at Bonus, so they went. I mean, I was actually supposed to go to the B team game yesterday. Well, we're going to be covering that for the double yesterday as well, but obviously it got bagged early, so I just came back up the road. Well, Brian said, bollocks, he's falling asleep. Give me 15 minutes to get sorted and we can do a recording. I'm just going to take message him back and tell him I'm alive now. He's some boy. Just give me a second, folks. I'll put this back in. So I don't blame him for falling asleep, to be fair. As I say, he lives in Forest. It's been a long day. He was out last night with the Rabble boys as well, so I'd imagine he'd have a few I had a few drinks and stuff like that as well. So no, I don't know where this mixed gender football's coming from. That's never going to happen, you know. Sorry, I'm trying to read these as I go. I'm not very good at talking and reading at the same time, but you know, I mean, I think the fact that the game was on Sky, for me, fantastic for the profile of the game, because there was no, I don't think it was up against any other football. Today, I don't think there was any other games on at the same time. So there would have been quite a lot of people watching. I'd be interested to know the viewing figures of it. And as I say, if it's got more people interested in it, even if it probably will be it probably will be a slow burner. You know, I mean, going back to that Old Firm game 2 weeks ago. For me, Rangers missed a trick not having the game at Ibrox, keeping it at Broadwood. But I would imagine that there's something in the Broadwood contract that they have the bigger games there, because obviously they'll got all the ancillary costs, they'll got all the catering and stuff like that. But it would have been, I think they're probably got maybe a 5-figure crowd if they moved it to Ibrox. You know, the first team went playing. It was a Saturday night. It was a 5:15 kickoff. I think they might have got a better crowd at that, but that's stiff butts and maybe who knows. I mean, going forward, that would be an ideal thing for them to happen. Here's Brian trying to make excuses that the road from Granton to Forest was really bad, and he took him ages to get home. But that it's not really an excuse for falling asleep. But anyway, so you know, sorry, I'm just waffling here, waiting for Brian to hopefully jump on. And then we can actually talk properly about the game. For those of you, I mean, I'm assuming that if you're on here, you actually saw the game. Yeah, Caroline, I hope you're right that Sky are going to be covering more games with the new TV deal. You know, I hope, talking about covering games, I hope that the fact that the ladies' game is now part of the SPFL as well, it's under their umbrella from this season. Hopefully that means that fixture clashes are going to be less. I mean, it's difficult not to have fixture clashes. I get that, but they should be looking at particularly. But I mean, I've said it on women's pods on here before, that the fact that there's only really 3 teams in the league. There's 3 professional teams in the league. There's ourselves, there's that lot across the city, and there's Glasgow City, and basically they beat everybody else quite handily by quite a lot of goals usually, and then play each other, and the games are quite close. I mean, our recent games we played both of them and drew both games, which tells its own story. City beat Celtic 2-1. But these games are close. Hibs are probably the best of the rest. Hearts are getting better. But the fact that the first 7 games of the season, basically the 3 top teams played everybody else, then played each other in the space of 3 weeks. That's not really good schedule. When you look at the league and you go, these 3 are miles ahead at the top. Then they play each other. Not a lot really changes. I mean, personally, I think they should schedule the games a wee bit different and have maybe every sort of third or fourth game, Glasgow City playing Celtic or Rangers playing Celtic or however they want to do it. Make it a bit more competitive early on. I think it would also help the girls as well. I mean, don't get me wrong. From my point of view, it was great that we didn't have to worry about them early doors when we did the European campaign, which we did really well in. But I mean, going forward, hopefully we'll be doing a lot better in Europe, so it won't really matter. We'll have to play them at some point. I'm still really hoping Brian's going to come on here very, very soon. No, women's football will never get bigger crowds than first team friendlies. I do get that, the trying Scotsman. I absolutely do. I mean, I was disappointed in the friendly attendance yesterday as well. It's maybe just me. I maybe just expect too much. I don't believe for a minute. I think they announced it's 26,500. I don't believe for a minute there was that many in the stadium yesterday. And it is difficult. I get it's a difficult time of year. Folk with kids, there's lots of other things to spend the money on. But like I said today, I think it was quite sensibly priced. Getting from Glasgow to Edinburgh on a Saturday lunchtime, Sunday lunchtime is probably not the easiest, particularly the way the trains are. I get that as well. And it was bitterly cold, so you can't really expect young kids to come out unless they're really, really keen in that. But the encouraging thing was that there was quite a lot of kids there, and they all seem to be enjoying it. Which is good. We comment there from Wolf Einstein, our Jambos ladies won. Yep, they did. The Jambos ladies did win the under-16s. Thanks for joining us, by the way. Wolf, nice to have you along. Your Jambos ladies did indeed win the under-16 Scottish Cup. I'm kept well abreast of what the Jambos are doing because my missus is a season ticket holder at Tynecastle. So she keeps me well abreast on how they're doing at all levels. But I mean, there is things like that people don't know about. There is levels below the first team. I mean, we're lucky we've got a few young players that are. I mean, Emma Watson came on today towards the end, played really well. I mean, I think she's 16, 17-year-old. She's a fantastic talent. Unfortunate thing about that is because of the lack of money in Scottish women's football, she's not going to hang about for very long because I would imagine that some of the English teams will come knocking and they would obviously be able to offer more money, So, yeah, well, my missus was exactly the same. She was actually at the game with me today. She sat with my daughter while I was doing the media bit, and she was quite happy. She was a wee bit disgusted that the Hibs fans were sitting in her stadium, but it's one of those things, And there you go. There's Cammy Hearts are scouting his 12-year-old nephew. Well, I hope your nephew gets signed up, Cammy. That'll be brilliant. I mean, any kid that gets to, that gets scouted by any club, it's great because it's a great starting life for them. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, it's still a great experience for them. Something I never got a chance to do, but then I had 2 left feet and neither of them worked. So hope that works out for them. Standout performer for me today, Stephen. Difficult because they all played quite well. I think Lizzie Arnott got the player of the match. I don't think you could really argue too much with that. I thought Sam Kerr did really well. She came on after 8 minutes when Jenny Danielson went off with a face injury after getting a knock in the face. I thought Sam did really well. Brogan Hay did well. Brogan always plays well. I thought Cathy Hill was solid at the back. I thought the team generally played quite well. But yeah, I don't think the player of the match was undeserved for Lizzie Arnott, to be perfectly honest with you. Kirsty Howitt came off the bench, did what she does. I mean, a lot of people questioning why Kirsty doesn't get a start. It's a question I'd like to find the answer to as well, because she always comes on and does, scores goals, whether it's the bringer on when when defences are tiring and open up a bit more. I'm not actually quite sure. But yeah, I think I would say Lizzie probably deserved the player of the match. But I thought Sam Kerr would have ran her close. Kath Hill at the back would have ran her quite close as well. But yeah, I think the whole team deserve a bit of kudos. Yeah, Davy Brogan, he was very good. I wish she would believe in herself a bit more and take more chances, take more players on. But I mean, she is really good. I mean, going forward, I thought the whole team were good, and I say Hibs didn't really offer too much. They came on a little bit just before we scored the second goal, and then once we got the second goal, they seemed to chuck it, for me. But that was probably more down to the way we were playing than anything else. So yeah, it was. Yeah, it was good. It was a good day. It was a cracking experience being on the gantry. That's not really a gantry, but being in the media area at Tynecastle, that was really good. It was great to have the opportunity to do that. Yeah, Caroline, Hibs were pretty poor. That's part of the problem. Even just looking at the social media that I've seen today, since after the game coming up the road and stuff, that people are saying the opposition's not great, and it's not particularly a great spectacle to watch. I'm only interested. I only go to watch one team anyway. So as long as Rangers are playing well, that's really all I'm interested in. But as I say, it's not a great advert when you see, like last week, Rangers played Glasgow Ladies and beat them 10-0. That's not really a great advert for the game. But that's just the way it is, I'm afraid. These teams don't have. Glasgow Ladies probably shouldn't be in the league, but they're trying to expand the league size, so they brought them up from the Championship along with Dundee United. And outside that, the big three, you've got Hearts and Hibs. They've sort of gone semi-professional. They're doing bits and bobs here and there, but the rest, they're not particularly great. But because the money's not there, it's not their fault. It's not anything they can really do much about. Because if they get a half decent player, they go to one of the bigger teams, and it is difficult. But I mean, is it much different to the men's game really, when you've got two teams at the top and the rest are, they beat the rest. Rangers and Celtic beat the rest most of the time. Okay, they don't beat them by 7s, 8s, 9s and 10s, but that's down to organisation and coaching and stuff like that. Yeah, Scott, that would do me on Thursday. What I'm talking about Thursday, what I would like on Thursday is I think the ladies should parade the cup, and I think they should parade it on Thursday at Ibrox, particularly in front of the Hibs end. I think that would be quite nice, but that's maybe just the devilment in me. I'm just going to see if Bryan is going to come and join us, because if he's not going to join me, I'm just going to wrap up because I'm just waffling nonsense here. So yeah, I mean, hopefully going forward for the Rabble, we're hoping to do a lot more women's pods. No, hang on, Brian's going to be joining us. If you hang about, Brian's going to be coming in eventually once he's wound his laptop up. We had a few issues before the game today. You'll have noticed, those of you that were bothered, that we didn't have a pre-match podcast today because we had all sorts of issues. Bryan couldn't get his Ethernet cable connected. Nobody had the passwords because Brian's got it automatic in his laptop and he couldn't get it switched on, and I didn't have it on this, although I have now. And we managed to sort it out just as the game started, so we just left it to half time. I believe that the half-time one wasn't too bad. I think there was a few internet issues at Tynecastle. I don't think the Wi-Fi was particularly great. Either that or it was my laptop. Probably my laptop, to be fair. But yeah, if you just bear with me a couple of minutes, hopefully Bryan will join us and we can actually talk a little bit about the game. I can't believe I've managed to waffle on for 24 minutes without him. There we go, Cammy. You reckon within the next 10 years, Scottish women's football will be aired regularly? Oh, to be fair, it's aired regularly on TV now because there's games on every week, but it's on BBC Alba, which is great. It's great because the coverage is there and there's, you can watch it. But the problem for me is it's Gaelic commentary. Now, I know that's what BBC Alba is all about, but when they talk to the summariser, it's in English. So why don't they just do the commentary in English, or at least have an English option? You know, that would maybe get more people watching it. I mean, I can kind of zone the commentary out, but I know who, particularly when it's Rangers, I know who the people are, who the players are, because I'm interested in it. You'll get people that aren't. So, you know, it is aired regularly on the TV. It's great, fantastic that the game was on Sky today, because that gets more eyes on it. The length and breadth of the country. People will watch it just because it was a Rangers team. I know people that watched it just because it was a Rangers team. And hopefully it'll get them more interested, because we did play quite well. And the important thing is we won the game. And that's a very good question from Curry Muncher. How long will it be before they can start funding themselves, and how much is it costing? Well, I know that I think 2 or 3 years ago, Stuart Robertson said that the AGM Rangers were throwing £1 million at it. That's when they went, in fact, it must be 4 years ago, when they went professional. And the results are showing, because they won the league last year, which they've never done before. They've won the League Cup today in their first ever domestic cup final. So it's working, but I know they're paying a lot of money for it, because some of the ladies that are, I mean, they're all fully professional now. It's their job. It's what they do for a living. And I know that some of them are on fairly healthy contracts for the level of exposure that they've got, the sort of crowds that they come in. I know that they've got separate sponsors to the first team as well. I know that, you know that by the sponsorships on their strips and stuff like that. TV money will be non-existent, because you've got Sky Sports Cup now. I don't suppose they paid a lot for that. And I mean, they only paid it from the semi-finals. They only came in at the semi-final stage. So I think it probably is costing a few quid, and it'll be a lot of years before it starts funding itself, because they don't get. I mean, I know Rangers put a women's season ticket available with a carrot of my shares points, which got some people buying it with no intention of going to games, which defeats the purpose for me. It's a difficult one. It really is a difficult one. But I'd like to see the women's game flourishing, because I like to see Rangers win things. I mean, it was great today. Rangers won another trophy, fantastic. I mean, we mentioned earlier the B team games. When somebody mentioned the Bonus game last week, I mean, even team, I'd love to see Rangers be able to progress out of the lowland league and get into the pyramid system and come through. I mean, I know that's not what it's for. It's for us bringing players through, you know, like the Lowrys and the Devines and the Robbie Frasers and stuff like that, bringing them through. But yeah, I'd like to see that become self-sustainable as well. The ladies' game, it's got more chance of becoming self-sustainable because it's a separate entity. They're playing for separate. You know, they're playing. They can be at the top of their profession. They can be at the top of the league. They can be winning things. I think getting back into Europe's a very, very important thing to do. Well, first taste of the Champions League this year, the ladies did really well. They got through that wee mini tournament over in Greece, and then they played Benfica, put up a decent spirit against a very, very experienced Benfica side. Did okay. They're probably never really going to progress much past that. But if they could sneak past them, it was into the group stages, and that would be, you know, three games at home, 3 games away against top quality opposition, which I'd like to think that I played at Ibrox, and like to think that they got a crowd at. You know, I mean, you know, if you're getting Chelsea ladies or Real Madrid ladies or Barcelona ladies or whatever, you know, I think that would be fantastic for them. But that's quite a long way off yet, because as I say, in Scotland you don't really have any competition. You've got competition 4 times a year, or probably 6 times a year now, because they've got a split this year. So they'll play. I'd imagine they'll play Glasgow City and Celtic again after a split. I'm not sure if it's once or twice. I'm not quite sure how the split works. Yeah, that system we were talking about with the B team, Stephen, it does work in Spain. It works in Holland as well. It works in places because they want it to work. In Scotland, they're not interested in that. There's too many clubs in Scotland. There's too many. You know, they're all looking after their own interests, which again I understand that, but they don't want. I mean, I believe if the Rangers B team go on and lift, I know we're getting off on a tangent about something else here, but it's still Rangers related. I believe if the B team go on and clinch the lower league title, which I don't think they will, because there's still a long way to go, And if the system works properly, a lot of the younger boys will end up in the first team. So we'll be playing a few levels below. They could win the title. They won't even get a trophy. It'll be the team that's next to them will get the trophy, which to me is mental. I get the fact they can't go up, but surely if they win the league, they should still get the trophy. You know, but that's just the way the B team thing works. David, I'm not sure. I think Brian's trying to get his cat to pedal a bit faster to get his internet to work. He's just sent me a picture of his laptop, and it's not really looking too good. So I'm going to give him another 5 or 10 minutes. Because it's time's racing on. I've been talking a lot of shit for half an hour now. So, you know, there's Curry Wincher saying he had a wee chat with Jimmy Bell's granddaughter today. It was nice to chat about her papa. Always nice to speak to people like that about guys like Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy was a legend of the club. I had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of times. It was never more than a couple of words in passing. Never actually a conversation with the guy. It was just a hello, how you doing? You know, he recognised me as a Rangers fan. I recognise him as our kit man. You know, and fantastic. I mean, the last time I saw him was actually at Dens Park at the start of last season. My daughter got a photo taken with him, and he was just his usual self. And a sad loss to Rangers. But yeah, it's great that his granddaughter speaks so nicely about him, Curry. It's really nice. Really nice you to engage her in that as well. Trying to see if there's anything else in here. Do you think the one at the Ladies Scottish Cup would be televised? I think it will be televised, but where it will be televised, Wolf, I've got absolutely no idea. Whether there's any money in it, again, don't know. It's still at its early stages. I mean, the second round draw was only last week. For those of you that don't know, Rangers were drawn at home to Stirling University. Wolf, your Hearts ladies were drawn away to Dundee United. The games are due on the 8th of January, which coincidentally is Dundee United ladies against Hearts ladies, scheduled for Dundee the same day as Rangers play Dundee United at Tynecastle in the men's first team. So, and I believe their ladies play at Gussie Park, which is right next to Tynecastle. So that could be an interesting sort of dynamic if that happens, when it happens. What we got here? Thought the lassie Gallagher was taking the cup up to you, Wolf, when she ran up the stairs towards you. Aye, Jimmy, it was quite surreal. I mean, the whole being in the press area was fantastic. And then when the game finished and the girls got the cup and they came up, and obviously some of the younger players were at the front. Were at the front of the kind of rear section of the stand at Tynecastle. A lot of the families were there, so the girls ran up to see their families. And then Brogan Hay appeared up with the cup, and then somebody else appeared up with the cup, and then the cup went back down the stairs and it came back, and then Malky appeared up, and it was quite surreal seeing them all coming past. It was nice to be able to congratulate them in person, and congratulate them on the goals and say hello to Cathy Hill, who's actually a friend of mine. I've known Cathy for a lot of years. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rangers bed. Cat's in his bed. Good evening, Brian. How are you?
Sorry, I thought it was tomorrow. No, long drive. It was okay till Granton, and then from Granton to Forest, a journey that should have took about no more than half an hour took nearly an hour. So yeah, it was a pretty bad end to the drive. The snow was I heard the snow gates were shut earlier. So yeah, so I was pretty tired by the time I got home after last night as well. So yeah, I'm sorry I'm late to the party, as say.
It's all right. Right, I've been speaking for 34 minutes, so get talking.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
It really isn't. I could talk forever, but anyway. What do you think of the game? Tell us what you think about the game today, then.
Well, this. I was thinking about it a lot on the way up the road. I envisage this game being quite a tight game. I envisage it being, just looking back at Hibs' sort of results over the last little while. They beat Celtic in the semi. I think they ran Celtic close in the league recently. They ran Glasgow City close in the league, I think, last weekend. So I was quite sort of prepared for this game to go the distance and be very, very close. I never expected it to be like it turned out. I mean, I still haven't seen the stats. I would imagine we're well up in the high 60s, 70s percentage wise. I never expected it to be as one sided as it was. I was quite taken aback by how sort of Hibs played. And to be honest, there was only ever going to be one winner. You know what I mean? As we said, Rolf, there was only one team trying to score. I mean, all Hibs tried to do was, long ball up the park, and somebody was going to latch onto it, and they would maybe get a break up the park, But, wow, I never envisaged it being as one-sided as it was.
Yeah, right. There's CGM who's late to the party. He obviously knew I was doing the first half hour on my own and decided to give it a bye. He came in either that or he was in bed with you because he's come on about the same time as you. So I don't want to start any rumours, but CGM, good evening. It's almost good morning, but good evening. The first goal was a cross. I don't think it was. I think she meant that.
Well, I've seen the replay, I think, on Twitter. And she definitely, I definitely think she meant it. I mean, there was nobody in the box. I certainly don't think there was no way it was a cross. It was definitely meant. As Jimmy Duff's just saying, it was definitely a shot. She went for the top corner, and by God, did she get it? I mean, I wouldn't say it was one of those out of the blue, but it was a great shot. I mean. Yeah, it was just one of those ones you kind of thought once it left her boot, you were like, that's going to go in, Marvellous shot. I think the commentator said at the time the goalie didn't stand a chance and the goalie was nowhere near it.
I think, Brian, the reason I think she meant it, she really didn't have anybody to aim at. There was nobody really in the box for it to throw into, so she was only throwing it aimlessly. We weren't playing like that.
No.
So, I think
she definitely meant it. I mean, there was, as you say, there was nobody in the box. There was nobody in the box to support her. She was 20, 25 yards out. It was the shot was on, so she took it. And I mean, by God, was that top bin stuff? I mean, it was side netting. It was right in the top corner. Marvelous finish, and it's even before that. Well, not even before that, but the way the game was going as it started, as I say, I envisaged it being quite tight, but the first few minutes I was like, no, I think we'll win this quite easy. Just by the way Hibs set up, they were just playing with a low block, try to hit us in the counter attack. It was a good finish, and she definitely meant it 100%.
Yeah. If I can just answer Gregor here, he says, by the way, too many Rebel pods advertised that haven't happened. That's exactly why I came on at 10:10 and just started speaking absolute shite. Because at least it gave you something. And then fortunately Brian's decided to throw the cat away and he's got him pedaling a bit faster. And
it was a long day and a long night last night, and it just caught up with me a wee bit.
Long day as well. So
apologies, Gregor, sorry.
But there we go, there's the trying Scotsman throwing in a couple of quid. Thank you very much for that, young man. Much appreciated. Always appreciated. Nice. It helps the pod get to places, helps Brian get a couple of beers on a Saturday night and be late on a Sunday for a podcast. But there we go.
And yes, she's very pleased to see me.
Talking about Lizzie's goal. There's Wolf, never across. She looked up, had no support and fired it into the top bin, pure class. And that's coming from a Jambo. He's outing himself as a Jambo. So yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I
was going to ask you, Wolf. I kind of thought I knew what the team was going to be, and it didn't turn out the way I thought it would. Were you the same, or were you gonna, or did you think the team that he put out was the team that he was going to sort of pick?
Obviously, I didn't expect to see Lizzie starting.
No, that was my next question.
Yeah, I didn't expect to see her starting. I mean, when I expected Jenny Danielson to be out on the left wing because that's where she's been playing, but he moved her back inside and put Lizzie out, and it worked. It absolutely worked. So whether he's whether Malky's looked at it and went, well, the last time we played Hibs, this might have made a difference. However, his team selection was fantastic. I mean, there was a question before you joined us that who I thought the best player was. I thought Lizzie more than deserved our player of the match. You know, I mean, as I said, Sam Kerr did well when she came on. Kathy Hill was solid at the back, really good, really looked really comfortable coming forward as well.
Yeah.
You know, Brogan Hay did Brogan Hay things. You know, but Lizzie starting actually really surprised me. It really did.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually looking at her stats earlier. I think she started about 64, 65 games, and she scored about 52 goals. I mean, I still don't understand how she's, not started recently. I mean, for me, she's a great assister. She scores goals. I just don't understand how she doesn't start more. You know, I mean, she's a great set piecer. I've been baffled recently why she's not played. I've always been a great advocate of her starting because, as I say, she's a good assister and she's a good goal scorer. So, with that amount of goals in that game, she's not too far off a goal a game. 65 games, I think it's 52 goals. That's invaluable.
Yeah, I personally, I don't look too much into the goals that they scored because a lot of them are against the best will in the world to run the cannon for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, they're scoring threes and fours against teams that really aren't offering up anything. We had that discussion earlier. Which isn't helping the ladies' game. I mean, games like last week, 10-0 last week. I mean, that's people look at that and go, "No point going to watch that." You'll see goals, but it's not a competition. It's not a contest.
No.
I mean, we're miles ahead of Hibs today, proved, but it was only 2-0. You'll get the men. You'll get our first team in a cup tie against like an Annan or a Albion Rovers or somebody, and we'll beat them 4 or 5. We won't. You'll occasionally get 8s and 9s. Very, very occasionally double figures because they're better coached. They've got a better siege mentality, whereas these other ladies teams don't have that yet. So it's not a good look. It's not a good look for the league. It really isn't a good look for the league. But that's why I don't really consider the goals scored because Lizzie could just go off and one and score 6 against a Partick Thistle or a Glasgow Women or whatever. So, but I know what you're saying. It is a good a good turn. And I mean, it's like you're always going on about Colette Kavanagh. What's she got to do to start a game? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, her last 2 starts, I think she played a cup game. I think Motherwell. She scored 2, and then she scored 3 last weekend. 5 goals in her last 2 starts. I mean, it's bemusing me how she's not. I mean, it worked today, obviously, but you know what I mean. She can't do much more, can she?
But then the 3 last weekend was scored 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's difficult. It really is difficult. But I mean, getting back to the game today, Hibs were disappointing. To me, Hibs were disappointing. But I mean, it was what you would expect from Rangers. It was a professional performance. It was a professional cup final performance. We scored. We didn't look in any danger. But the second goal is always crucial in a game like that. Always crucial.
I think one player that probably got a bit of an unsung hero today, who was busy in the midfield, breaking up attacks, just sticking a foot in, nicking the ball. I think Chelsea Cornet was brilliant today. It's one of that roles in football where you don't get much credit. You do the dirty work, you do the hard graft, the tackles, the toe pokes, getting the ball off teams. But I thought Chelsea was brilliant that today. She flew into a few tackles. She poked the ball off midfielders or attackers. She slotted in sometimes at centre half if Davidson or Kath Hill went forward. She did a lot of dirty work today, and I thought Chelsea was very close to getting man of the match if it wasn't for Lizzie's performance today.
Yeah, I thought Chelsea Cornet. As I said that earlier, I thought Chelsea Cornet did a really good game. She did. I mean, like you say, she it's not a glamorous position she plays, but she does it. But
it's an important role, though, isn't it?
Of course, it is. It breaks up the play, starts attacks, gets wired in. I can't help but wonder if she's letting that bottle of champagne go yet, because she was from the minute the game finished, she had a bottle of champagne in her hand. And the last time I saw her walking off the pitch, she had a bottle of champagne in her hand. So, But yeah, Chelsea played with us.
Just to reply to Curry, yes, obviously I stayed over in Glasgow last night and then drove over to Edinburgh this morning. So drinks were mildly consumed last night compared to others. Obviously we're driving so early this morning, so yeah, kept myself reasonably, more than reasonably sober and enjoyed the night. And yes, thoroughly enjoyed the night. Good laugh. And
but see, Curry, the reason he went for a sleep when he came back up from the game was nothing to do with the traffic conditions. He was in Spearmint Riders until 4 o'clock this morning. So that was the issue. That was his problem.
I think, Wolf, you said that was about 3,800 today.
Crowd number was 3,727. I think was the exact crowd number. Which, as I said before you came on CGM, before you climbed out of Brian's bed, which is where I think you've been.
It was a poor crowd, wasn't it?
I was really disappointed with that, but I get all the reasons that I've been getting absolutely hammered on social media because I tweeted that that ladies football's got a long way to go because people are like, well, it is a bad time of year. It's bitterly cold. You've got Christmas around the corner. There's a cost of living crisis. People have got kids to pay for. Rangers were at home yesterday, the first team, all that. I get all that. I still think it was a piss poor crowd, particularly after it was 8,000 at Edinburgh Derby 2 weeks ago. But it's also the biggest crowd they've ever had at a Scottish League Cup final for the women. I mean, as somebody pointed out earlier on, there was 386 at the Scottish Cup final 10 years ago for women. So it's come on a long way from then.
Yeah,
but it's a Rangers team trying to win a shiny thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly going in the trajectory that it should be. I thought tickets were priced really well. £8. I think £1 for children. As I said to you, when we played, was it Celtic last week? It was £1 for season ticket holders. It's for me as an adult, or if I was a parent, it'd be a great game to take a 5, 6, 7-year-old kid to a game because it's totally different from the first team. It's very relaxed. I mean, like today, Wolf, the players were coming right up to the fans in the stand. They were halfway up the main stand at Tynecastle, taking pictures with the trophy, signing footballs, signing autographs, and on programs or whatever. It's a totally different feel compared to the men's sort of team, obviously. And they're so engaging with the fans. And that's the thing that I was quite taken aback by today. They were so... didn't care how, they just wandered up the stairs right to the fans, signed footballs, bits of paper, programs, whatever. And, I thought that was great to see. It was quite refreshing to see that.
They do that at every game, they do really engage with the fans. And I've got no doubt as the game expands, that'll kind of lessen off. I don't think the next time they win a cup, I don't think they'll be allowed to run into the stand with it, because I think that probably took people by surprise.
Yeah,
that they did that. But I mean, they will get up to see their family. They'll get up to see the young players that were in the stand as well. And I think it's fantastic to see. And hopefully, the fact that they do engage with the younger fans, they'll tell their pals, "Look, I was at the Rangers ladies game, and I got this signed, and I got a picture with this one." And that will encourage more of them to come along with hopefully,
Absolutely.
I mean, we can only hope that when winter turns to spring, we're still playing quite well, and the better weather encourages people to come out. But it's it would be nice to get another game at Ibrox, just to see what sort of crowd we could get there, and maybe do what Hibs did for that Edinburgh Derby. They let folk in for nothing. You had to get a ticket. It was ticketed, but it was free. You just had to apply, go and get a ticket, but it was free. So they had a guess of the numbers. Now I believe they shifted something like 13,000 tickets, but only 8,000 turned up. That's going to happen when they're giving away free tickets. But we should do something like that, or even if it's like you said, £1 like it was at the game at Broadwood, the Old Firm at Broadwood. Have it at Ibrox and just see how we get on with it.
Yeah,
it might cost the club a couple of quid, but give it a go and see what happens, because nothing ventured, nothing gained. It might be a long-term gain. You don't know. Everybody's not as daft as us driving half a length of the company to go to watch the women's game. You know what I mean? Or going to watch BTV or whatever. It's not something everybody's in a position to do.
No.
with working family commitments and stuff, So they need to try stuff. I mean, for the game today, to me, it was fairly obvious that tickets weren't selling particularly well because every second tweet from Rangers women was buy tickets, buy tickets, buy tickets, buy tickets, buy tickets.
Yeah. Curry, I would sort of hazard a guess it was pretty 50-50, Wolf. I mean, one half of the stand was Rangers, one half of the stand was Hibs. It looked pretty even from where we were sitting. You can't obviously say for certain, but apart from maybe the Broomloan Collective who were in the front of the main stand below us to the right, Hibs didn't have that to the left. So apart from that, guys, I would have said it looked 50-50. I mean, I'm not going to say we had more or they had less or vice versa, but it didn't look that much in it, did it?
I've got no idea. I didn't even look over it was a Hibs support. I've got no. I saw one or two. I saw one or two of them in the concourse at halftime, and I went to the toilet. But I've got no idea how many was there.
Yeah.
There is a school I thought a lot of them wouldn't have gone because it was at the Tynecastle. I don't particularly think I agree with that, but it is what it is. I mean, it was the crowd. It's something that they'll need to work on. They'll need to work on.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, I can't even say it. Scheduling league games better would probably work nicer because as we said the last time we did a women's pod, the fact that the first 7 weeks of the season, the three top teams didn't play each other in any at all
until 2 weekends basically,
and then they played each other over 3 weekends basically.
Yeah,
which is ridiculous. It's mental. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
they should spread it out a wee bit. Make it look a bit more rather than everybody looking at it. Look at this. There's all these. There's a couple of 2-0s with teams near the bottom, and then you've got the three big teams scoring 5, 6s, and 7s every single week until they play each other. Kind of break it up a wee bit. Now, to answer Caroline,
I was just about to say
Jenny looked okay. She looked a bit groggy at the end, but she was there. As Wolf has said there, she was there at the end with her medal in her tracksuit. She'd obviously been and got changed. She still
looked like a concussion, didn't it?
She was okay. Yeah, I think she got a smack in the face. Yeah. I think her mouth was bleeding from what I saw from the TV coverage that we saw. I think her mouth was bleeding, and then it must have been a bit harder a hit than she thought. She just went down, and
because I mean, she got treatment at the time, and then about 5 minutes later, she sat down basically in front of the dugout and just went, "I'm done." And she came off, and she was definitely sort of holding her head and sort of going, "Woof," So she definitely got as you say, a bang to the face.
They took her straight down the tunnel. They took her straight down the tunnel, but she did come out at the end. So hopefully she's okay. Hopefully she's okay. Once again, trying Scotsman. Thanks very much. I did try my best. So, and Brian, where did you get your top from?
I probably got it off the website. It's just a leisure top. Nothing fancy. Just blue with the red trim, and it's just one of the tops I've seen on the website. I'm not too sure when I got it. I think it was last season, maybe. I'm not sure if they're still in. I don't know if they're still on the go. It's just a a polo shirt, nothing fancy.
That there from Stephen is what it's all about. His nephew lost it at the first goal. I mean, I don't know, Stephen. I don't know how old your nephew is, but I mean, for any young kid, I'm guessing probably primary school age. To see young kids reacting like that, because to them it's just a Rangers team scoring a goal. They don't really differentiate. They just see it's a Rangers team and that's it. Yeah. I mean, fabulous, absolutely. I mean, that's what it's about. And to me, the fact that they won the game and it was on the telly. I mean, having looked at my social media, loads of people that I know that are Rangers fans, which is most sick, brilliant. I know loads of people that were watching the game on the telly. And even the fact that it was 2 good goals will probably make them think this. It's better than I thought. Well, Caroline was saying earlier, it's the first time she's watched the Rangers ladies, she was quite impressed.
Yeah.
So
I think as we said at the game, Wolf, you've got to differentiate it between the men's team and women's football. You can't put two side by side and compare because it's ridiculous. You can't do that. You've got to appreciate their two different sort of bodies effectively. Running, jumping, whatever. It's totally different. It's totally different football. But see when it's like tight in and they're doing little flicks or the skills there. It's just a case of them doing it. It's yeah. I mean, as you said earlier, when you see results like last week when we beat Glasgow Women 10-0, it doesn't look good, but there's a reason for that. Glasgow shouldn't have probably got promoted last year, but because of league reconstruction, they were promoted early. So, unfortunately, Glasgow Women probably went up a season early than they probably should have, but they're in the top league. But things like that. It's as you said, Wolf. There was only 300 odd at the Scottish Cup final a few years ago. Now there was 3,700 there today. Small steps. It'll get there. You just need to appreciate it for what it is.
Well, and I mean that wasn't the point I was making when I put the tweet out when I was told about the game. I just the women's got a long way to go, and people were. I mean, I was getting absolutely slaughtered. What did they expect? I'm disappointed in it. I was disappointed in the crowd. I was disappointed in the crowd at the Leverkusen game yesterday. I mean, it was given us 26,000. There's not a ghost there. It was 26,000 there. But even if it was 26,000, I'm disappointed in that on a Saturday. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. I get it. I do get it. But anyway, back to the game, because I've been talking for nearly an hour. You know what I mean? I'm just off the quiz, and that was nearly 2 hours. By the way, I was stunned.
But no, another special mention I would say today was obviously the next goal scorer, Wolf Kirsty Howitt. Now, as maybe a lot of people know or don't know, Kirsty had a really bad injury. I think it was an ACL, wasn't it, Wolf?
Yep, it was, yep.
And for anybody obviously watches or knows football, ACLs are pretty much the closest thing to a career-ending injury. So for Kirsty to come back, get herself fit, and then score pretty much the winner in the cup final is pretty much dream stuff for any Rangers fan. And I'll tell you what, she scored one. She actually nearly scored an even better one a few minutes later, but what a goal that was, Wolf.
Yeah, it was a great finish. I mean, that's what Kirsty Howitt does. I mean, there were a lot of questions on, again, go back to social media feeds, a lot of questions on Twitter why she didn't start the game. And she doesn't seem to start games. As I said just before you came on, I'm not sure whether it's because they bring her on when other teams are tired or opened up a bit, or, maybe chasing the game a little bit.
Yeah.
But it works. She comes on and she scores goals. And I mean, it was a fantastic goal. Then the one she hit the bar, I mean, new questions whether it took the deflection. We saw it back on the Sky feed, and it certainly didn't look as if it took the deflection. It was a terrific hit. She knows the way to go. She's a number 9 that does number 9 things. She scores goals. That's what she does. But there's a lot more to her game than that. But she scores goals, and I'm absolutely delighted for her. Delighted for her. I mean, as the team evolves, like everything else, as the team evolves, you're going to get less of a Rangers focus to the team. You're not going to get so many Rangers support. When that team's littered with Rangers supporters, who I'm absolutely delighted for today winning Rangers domestic cup.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost got a feel, Wolf, of. Sorry, on you go.
On you go.
It's almost got a feel of probably the men's team of the 9 in a row era in the 90s. A lot of Rangers fans playing for the club. As you said, you've got Cathal, you've got Nick Docherty, other players in the team that are, Rangers supporters. There's a as you say, there's fans playing for the club, and that's what it was like for the men's team back in the 90s. And you've seen the drive and the passion that they had, and I would say from what I've seen from the ladies over the last few weeks, there's definitely that sort of feel in the ladies team.
Yeah, I mean, it's the look of absolute joy when they scored the goals. I mean, every time Kirsty Howitt scores a goal, the joy. I mean, I remember our first game back was last season after an ACL, was last season up here at Pittodrie against Aberdeen. And I was lucky enough to be at the game because it was here, and she scored, and just the absolute joy in her face when she was celebrating it. Same today, the absolute joy, and at the end of the game, even the non-Rangers fans, the foreign players, the players that have no reason to be Rangers supporters, they were getting right into it. So they seem to be buying into the ethos of it. And that can only be because there's Rangers people around the club. Now, that'll change over time. There'll be less and less of them because that'll be the way it happens. Because for the club to move on, particularly in European terms, we're going to need players of a higher quality, players with more experience. And they're not going to necessarily be Rangers supporters, although some of them we could bring back. I mean, it would be great to bring back somebody like Aaron Cuthbert coming back from Chelsea or the likes of that.
That'll definitely happen at some point.
Well, I don't know how feasible that would be because she'll be on a decent lift down there. But I mean, hopefully something like that could happen. Just to keep the Rangers element of it in the team. But they all look so. I mean, every single one of them was so. I noticed one of the ones getting right into it was Lisa Martinez.
Yeah.
Who isn't going to be a Rangers fan because she just isn't, right? Because she's not all, she's not from these parts.
Yeah.
But I didn't even wait today, and she was getting right involved in it, which is fantastic to see. The club, they seem to be together as a club. They seem to be all really a lot of togetherness there,
Yeah.
And
I think even like sort of Davidson was getting involved. Kayla McCoy. All these, as you say, players from out with Scotland. Getting stuck in, and I mean, as you say, the second goal was the one for me that Kirsty scored. Kirsty Howard scored. The whole team, the whole outfield team, were basically right in front of the Broomloan Collective. Just all cheering or sort of celebrating the goal, and that tells its story. As Malky said a few times, the team and the squad have got a bit of a togetherness and a bit of wanting to win things, and that can only help. That can only help, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to close up today, I mean, it was a decent performance against a disappointing Hibs team. 2 fantastic goals. We never looked in any danger. I mean, Jenna Fife will probably never have a quieter game.
No.
Against a team like Hibs because she'd absolutely nothing to do. 1 shot straight at her, absolutely nothing to do. To be fair, the Hibs keeper didn't really have a lot to do either. But the important thing was we scored a couple of goals. We hit the bar. There was a few other bits and pieces, and it was great. It was great to finally get this cup monkey off our back. I mean, as I said to you at the game, yeah, that's the cup monkey off our back. I said it in the immediate post match.
Yeah,
that we've finally won the trophy, but we need to get a cup tie against a Celtic or a Glasgow City and beat them on the way to winning the trophy. Because last season we had an unbeaten league season, played really, really well, played Celtic off the park twice in 2 cup games and lost them both.
1-0.
Lost them both 1-0 late on.
Yeah.
So we need to keep winning these cup games. We need to be getting. We don't want to particularly be drawing these teams. Other teams can put them out. That's great.
Yeah.
But we need to keep winning. Keep putting shiny things out. Hopefully, as I said, the club will get the ladies to parade the trophy on Thursday.
I would imagine that'll happen
because that will get even more eyes on it. And the ladies have won something. The more they can do, the better. Because a lot of people probably didn't even realise this game was on today, although it was on Sky. You'll get people. It's not everybody's going. Not everybody's interested in that.
I think you said this today, Wilf. An absolute Rolls Royce of a midfielder.
Tess Medak is probably the best, the most technically gifted player the Rangers ladies have got, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And Jimmy's right. She likes a shot. Tess likes. There was 2 or 3 times today I thought she was going to dig it, but she just couldn't get the space, so she passed it, which was nice to see because they're not just snatching at shots. Yeah. They're playing as a team. Go back to what we were just saying. They're playing as a team. Yeah, I think Tess is an absolute Rolls Royce of a player. Absolutely, we're so lucky to have her. And whether we can hang on is another thing.
I mean, as I said to you, she can't even get in the Dutch squad.
Yeah, I know. But then the Dutch ladies team are quite good. But then we've got the likes of, Kirsty McLean, Jodie McCleary, and Jodie didn't go on today, but Kirsty McLean, Jodie McCleary, and Emma Watson. Emma got on today for the last few minutes.
Kirsty as well.
They all look really good.
Yeah.
And unless we start getting money into this game, we're going to lose these players to Scottish, not just the Rangers, but the Scottish women's football.
Yeah,
which isn't really going to help it progressing.
No,
because teams down south are going to be offering them more money. Because I would imagine even the it's the same as in the men's game. Even the championship teams in England, the Durhams and the Sheffields and all these sort of teams, they probably will offer them a better gig than You know,
Well,
they've got.
I mean, when you look at England, Wolf, the WSL in England get $4 million a year for their TV. The Scottish Premiership in Scotland only get 2.5, 2.8 million.
Yep.
So they're already getting, over $1 million more than the men's game. So they've got money. They've got definite more money than the men's sort of league up here. So they've got, I wouldn't say they've got plenty of money, but they've got more than the men's league up here. So, when you throw that in the equation, as you say, there's every chance that English teams down south are looking at the Scottish game and going, "Oh, we'll take a punt on her. It won't cost us too much,"
Yep.
So yeah, it's an absolute possibility. I mean, there's three of them under seven. Well, I think two 17-year-olds and a 16-year-old in the Rangers squad today. So if a couple of teams down south see them and think, "Ooh, we'll take a punt on them," and they're only a young, they'll easily snap them up and get them in their first team. And as you say, that's them gone then, because the money down there is so much bigger than what it is up here. Sadly.
Yeah, I mean, especially if they're aware of that, the past. I mean, even when Rangers weren't a professional club, I mean, we were talking about Aaron Cuthbert, and Aaron came through Rangers as a school kid.
Yeah.
When we were just, we were effectively just an amateur team associated to Rangers. They weren't professional. They all had other jobs, and they actually paid to play. And Aaron got snapped up as maybe a 15, 16-year-old with Chelsea.
Yeah.
Look at her now; she's come on leaps and bounds. You know what I mean? She's got countless international goals. There'll be other examples of that through it that's come out of Scottish football that I'm not really aware of because I only follow Rangers. But there'll be other ones. And if they look at that and go, well, she's come through that system when it wasn't what it is now. We'll have a chance if we sign the likes of the Emma Watsons and all that, and hopefully we get the best out of them before that actually happens. But again, if that happens and there's transfer fees involved, and I don't know if that's a thing in women's football. I mean, it is, but whether it's decent or not, I don't know. That could help kind of bring the team on as well.
Yeah. As Jimmy's saying, Erin was flying. I think Chelsea won quite comfortable today, and in the WSL. There's every chance I would say she'll come back and play for Rangers at some point. Where goodness knows when that'll be, because she must only be still 24, 25, if that. Still a young kid, so she'll be down in England for a few years more. But I would envisage she'll come back up to us at one point in her career.
But then you see that's not something really that we should be looking at going forward either.
No,
because you're basically then going to be a retirement home for ex-players, because we want to be above that level by the time she gets to that age. Because you say she's only in her mid-20s now. So in the next 5, 6, 7 years, we want to be not on a par with Chelsea, because we're not going to go on a par with those teams because of the money, as you've just outlined. But we don't really want them to be coming back because of that.
No.
But, I mean, Caroline's making a wonderful point here that the SFA undersell their game, and they do. I mean, not just the SFA. Some point earlier when we were talking about it being on BBC Alba, BBC Alba don't promote the fact the games are on. They just put them on. They're just there. I mean, if you follow the women's game, you'll know that whatever fixture's on a Sunday at 4:10 is on BBC Alba. Right?
Correct. Yes.
Because it is. That's just the kickoff thing. It's like if you watch the men's game, half one game on a Sunday is on Sky. A 4:00 game on Sunday is on Sky. that. So that's just the time schedules we've got for it. So that the women's game, it's on at 4:10. It's going to be on Alba. Whoever it is, whether it's City, Hibs, or us, Hearts, or whatever it happens to be.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't promote it. It's just there. It's just one of those things. You know what I mean? And most of the other games are available on the BBC website or through the red button or however else they do it these days. They don't tell you that. You've got to go looking for it. It's not advertised enough.
It was like that game that I looked at my app and it said, "Oh, Rangers Women's on BBC," so I went straight on BBC Scotland. BBC Alba wasn't there, and I messaged you. I says, "Where's this game?" It says it's on BBC, and you went, "No, it's online." And I went, "Oh," so I had to go and hunt for it online. You know, as you say, they don't sort of promote where the game's getting shown very well at all.
No, they don't. I mean, they've got a lot to learn. There's a long way to go, but hopefully, the fact that Sky have now done, that's the first time a Scottish women's game's ever been on Sky. Yeah. So hopefully that's the start of it. You know, I mean, I laughed when Sky Sports picked, I laughed because they had, was it the quarterfinals, whenever it was, they picked it up and there wasn't a single game from that round on Sky. I'm like, well, Sky
Yeah.
sponsoring it. Semi-finals, not a single game on Sky.
No.
It's their competition. You would think they would show it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
I mean, even the BBC's got a women's highlight show every week on the league games.
Monday night at 7 o'clock, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but how many people are actually aware of that? Because it's on that daft BBC Scotland channel that nobody knows anything about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. As you say, certainly promoting the SWPL in Scotland itself, as you say, you either know that you know when the shows are on or when the games are on because you know, or if you don't know, you'll never find them.
Yeah, it's not something you'll suddenly go, oh look, that's on.
Yeah.
When you'll be watching, I don't know, you'll be watching something on Sky, you'll be watching a documentary on Sky, and all of a sudden it's Super Sunday, and you've got Chelsea women, Arsenal women, whatever it happens to be. If it's a women's game and they're promoting, it'll be in your face. You'll see it there. You might watch that. BBC don't promote anything like that. It's crazy. It's just daft. But hopefully going forward it'll get better. You know, hopefully going forward it'll get better.
Well, as you said earlier, you know, now it's been on Sky. There's eyes on the game. Obviously, a lot of people are, you know, were complimentary about the game today. A lot of people watched it for the first time and were pleasantly surprised. You know, so hopefully next time there's a game, you know, they might think, well, let's just go along and give it a go. You know, you appreciate it for what it is. You know, as I said before, you cannot even think about comparing it to the men because it's impossible. But the skill levels there, you know, as a lot of people seen on the telly today, you know, the technical abilities there, you know, the drives there, the desires there. They just need a bit more support, and it's you know, that's all that's lacking. Just a bit more boots in the ground as such.
Yeah, I mean, to me, watching the ladies' games, like watching a kids' game, watching an under 16s, 18s, even the B team game, you can't go into expecting the same level as you'll get at Ibrox on a Saturday afternoon, right? Because it's going to be completely different, because it's a completely different set of players, completely different narrative. You know what I mean? It's you've got to go into looking at it that way. If you're going into any ladies' game or youth game or whatever and expecting it to be like watching the Rangers first team, then you're getting into the wrong attitude in the first place, because that's not what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah, you're wanting to get entertained, you're wanting it to be decent. The technical ability, as you say, technical ability is there. It's never ever going to be as physical as a men's game, and it really isn't. No. You know, it's never going to be as fast as a men's game, although there is a bit of pace in a women's game. You know, it's never going to be as fast, but technically, it's going to be up there. You know, but we're speaking.
I'll tell you one thing: the men's game could learn from the ladies' game is if there's a hard tackle and both players that are involved just get back up and get on with it. There's none of this rolling around and, you know, trying to get players booked and nonsense like that. You'll both just get back up and get on with
it. Brian, you'll probably find as the game evolves and money comes into it, that'll start in the ladies' game, because it didn't used to be in the men's game. That's what will happen. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, to me, the ladies' game is now what the men's game was probably 40 years ago. You know, from that point of view, from the monetary point of view. Yeah. You know, and hopefully it comes. I mean, we're talking from the position of we enjoy watching the ladies' football. You know, I mean, I just enjoy watching Rangers teams, full stop. End of story. I'd watch a Rangers team playing chess.
Well, I'd watch them play cricket.
I don't even understand cricket, and I'd watch them play cricket if it's a Rangers team. Right?
You'd watch them play tiddlywinks, wouldn't you? Let's be honest.
I'd watch Rangers opening an envelope because I just love watching Rangers. That's what I do. Right? I mean, I'm addicted to it. It's what I do. And I get that everybody's not in the fortunate position that I'm in, that I can do these things. I've got a very understanding partner. My kids are grown up. You know,
even more understanding boss.
Yeah, he's quite understanding as well. You know, so I mean, I can get away with doing these things. You know what I mean? Yeah. But as I say, the fact that people can now sit and watch it on the telly, it's got to be a good thing, because even if it means we go to 1 or 2 games a season, it's got to help. It has got to help.
Definitely.
You know, but I mean, Rangers don't do this for any favours either, because I mean, you'd have got the email after the game that Rangers ladies have won a cup, have 20% off, and have 20% off everything from Castor in the Rangers store, right?
Yeah.
As a pal of mine pointed out on Twitter, that's fantastic, right? But you can't buy a Rangers shirt, a women's Rangers shirt. because they don't do them.
No.
You know, so you're asking the kids to go and buy the top, but they want the top that they've just seen the lassie lift the cup in. They can't get it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got a different sponsor and they can't buy it.
You've got a 7, 8, 9-year-old girl. She's saying, "Oh, I want that top, Dad."
Yep.
And Dad's like, "Well, I can't get you." And she's like, "Well, why not? That's the strip they wore today."
Yep.
You know, as you say, it's ridiculous that you can't buy a women's top that's in this in that promotion today. I mean, that's just shooting yourself in the foot for me. You know what I mean?
It's crazy. It really is. It's mental.
It really is.
It
really is. But hopefully, as I've said before, things are slowly on the upward trend. It's probably folk are probably maybe wanting it to go quicker, but a lot of these things are slow burners. Wolf, as I said earlier, it's not gonna happen overnight, but it's getting there. It's just it's slowly. I would say it's like a steamroller. It's building up ahead of speed.
Yeah, I mean, somebody tweeted earlier the Scottish Cup final, women's Scottish Cup final 10 years ago. There was 350 folk at it, or whatever it was, and you couldn't. There was nobody watching it on the telly because it wasn't on the telly.
Yeah,
this was the League Cup final. There was 3,720 people through the gates, so paid money to watch the game, and you had however many people watching it on the telly. So that's a bonus. That's a plus.
Yeah,
But hopefully Sky don't just ditch it and say, well, that's all we're doing is this one game every year. They need to do more than that just to keep eyes on it.
Like a tie of the round, for example. Like the Scottish Cup and the men's, they always pick a non-league team versus a Premier League team or, something like that. As you say, Sky need to definitely show one tie from, say, the quarters, one of the semis, and then the final. I mean, as you say, they can't carry on just doing the final. That's not good.
No, it doesn't have to be Sky. As Curry put, I think it was Curry put in the comments a few minutes ago that Amazon and Amazon Prime and all these guys, Netflix, they're all trying to get into sport. They'd get rights to the Scottish women's game for next to nothing, right? Because at the moment it's on BBC Alba, who probably don't even pay to cover it. You know what I mean?
No.
So you get it for next to nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't even know if the Women's Scottish Cup has got a TV deal. I haven't got a clue. I don't know.
I wouldn't think so.
I mean, I know the draw was live last week. Because I watched it, and I thought we were going to be getting Celtic because there was only 8 balls left in, and we were there, and so were they. But then
where was the hot ball? Where was the hot ball?
They came out against whoever they've got, and we ended up with Stirling University, so that's fine. Happy with that.
Yeah.
But hopefully going forward, it'll pick up a bit. They'll get a bit more eyes on it. Anyway, on Absolutely. That, I have now been talking for nearly an hour and 20 minutes after doing
That's incredible.
Because I've basically been on a podcast since I got home at 20 to 8. So,
after my mama's drive home, I just kind of collapsed on the sofa and fell asleep.
Well,
then I had to start up the old laptop, which is not a thing I should be doing.
I basically walked in, told Carol she had to take the dog out because I was going straight on a podcast, plugged all this in, went on the quiz, and then came on this. So,
Oh dear.
Just as well I like talking about Rangers, eh?
Oh, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Everybody that's in the comments to Wolf Einstein, we're friendly Hearts fan. Thanks for coming in.
Yep.
Stephen, Caroline, Curry, CGM, everybody that's come on and stuck with us. Thanks very much. Sorry about all my ramblings early on, but what to try and get Bryan out of his bed. CGM wasn't answering his phone either, so you know what I mean.
The only thing I will sort of maybe dig about Hearts was the Wi-Fi was crap today.
But we can't really talk about that because we tried to hack the Wi-Fi at Ibrox.
Well, yeah, there's that as well. Yeah.
I thought Hearts were the perfect hosts today. Even better because I went to the restaurant at Tynecastle for my lunch after it, and it was fantastic. It was really good. I
was about to say, yes. How did the luncheon go today?
Luncheon went really well. It was excellent. It wasn't cheap, but it was good. It was really good. It's always good in there, though. It is always good in there. So,
good stuff.
So it was a few quid put into Hearts coffers for me today as well. It was enjoyable. So,
yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Anyway, guys, if you don't already, like and subscribe and do all those nice things, you can join the channel. You can do all these things. We're back tomorrow at 7:30 with a Leverkusen reaction. We touched on it after the quiz tonight, which Kerr won hands down.
Oh, did he?
He did. But, I mean, his mastermind round was ridiculous.
Was it music round or some nonsense? Was it?
His mastermind round was Lincoln Park. I mean, come on, what chance have you got? You know what I mean? You know, he got 4 out of 5 on my mastermind round. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
not blow my own trumpet, but I got 5 out of 5. But there you are.
Wow. What was your mastermind?
Madness.
Eh?
Madness.
Oh, Madness. All right.
Camden Town's finest.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I even had a prop for it.
Oh.
I had a prop
Oh,
for
yes,
it.
I did see the hats. Yes, I did see the hats.
There we go.
Actually, I got a message from one of the viewers saying that there was a synchronized you and I think Scotty Kerr both take a drink at the same time out of a cup or a mug.
Oh, there you go.
And it was totally in perfect sync. The two of you took a drink at the same time, and the cup went down at the same time.
Oh, there you go. Right, Stephen, an absolute pleasure. If I say I'm going to do something, I tend to do it.
Yeah.
Brian's had a sleep. I need to go for sleep, so I'm up at 5 o'clock. So thanks very much again, everybody, for having. Wolf, an official Madness Trilby purchased at the House of Common Madness Festival and a Day thing at Clapham Common in London 2019, I think it was, because I went 2018 and 2019. So there you go. So yeah, absolutely love them to bits. And there was Steve was indeed Scottish Mechanics.
Well, they drew 1-1 with Inverurie locals, which is not a bad result, because Inverurie have got a bit of money behind them. So 1-1 at home to Inverurie wasn't a particularly bad result. Take it.
Right, anyway, we could be here chatting about absolute nonsense all night. I really need to go and get some sleep. So thanks very much again, everybody. Somebody will be back tomorrow. I believe I don't know. Stu's maybe I have no idea. Now, but
it's been a long day, Rolf.
Yeah, we're back on Monday night, 7:30, with a reaction to yesterday's game against Leverkusen, which we touched on after the quiz. Basically, I touched on after the quiz because the other two guys haven't seen the game yet. So, you know what I mean. So, anyway, thanks very much, Brian. Thanks for getting out of your bed, coming to see us.
As I say, apologies. I honestly see if I shut my eyes when I sit down, it's just that's usually good night. I'm actually amazed I actually got up.
You can give CGM a kiss on the cheek and send them home now.
Yeah, I will do.
He came on at the same time as you got up, so there's something sinister there, I think.
I'll tough CGM out now.
So all right. Thanks a lot, guys. And again, thanks to Wolf Einstein for coming on. It's always nice to have rival supporters on and joining in with us rather than it all just getting a wee bit messy. Nice to have them on.
Contributing sensibly.
So, there we go. Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. So thanks very much, guys. We'll speak to you all soon. Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm not even going to put